This is a Bailey Pegasus Ancona. Just going to take you around the van and show you how it operates. Front of the van, you've got your jockey wheel, hitch and handbrake, and your ATC, and we'll take you through that while you're here on site. Front of the van, you've got two gas bottle tie downs where you can tie down to two 6kg propane gas bottles. And up on the bulkhead, you've got your gas regulator. We can supply the gas pipe work here on site if you need it to go to the bottle. We keep those in stock here if you do need one. Down the side of the van, you've got your wind down stabilising legs. They are just there for stabilising the caravan, not lifting the caravan. If you use these to lift the caravan, it could potentially damage the floor of the caravan. Got our storage lockers down the side of the van, as you can see. We've then got our water pump connection, which very simply pushes into the side of the van, and then the pickup pipe drops down inside the aqua roll. And the cover here, you need to remove when you're using any of the systems on gas inside of the caravan. Fridge system. Fridge vents are essentially there to allow the hot air at the back of the fridge unit and take some cool air in. And you've also got a gas flue behind the cover on this top cover as top one here as well. Motor mover and wheel nuts. We'll torque the wheel nuts before the caravan leaves site, and we'll also demonstrate the motor mover to you so you can see everything is working as it should. Grey waste pipes. The fresh water that goes in the front of the van has to come out somewhere. And you have two pieces of grey pipe that push into the larger diameter circle holes on the grey connections here, and they drop down inside the waste master. Coming to the back of the van, and you've got your wind down legs on either side of the van at the back. Again, they are just there for stabilising the caravan, not lifting the caravan. Got your toilet flush tank, which takes 3.5 litres of water and a cap full of the pink fluid prior to use. And in the bottom, you have your toilet locker, it's toilet waste cassette itself, which you release by pulling up the orange handle. The neck here turns out so you can tip the waste away. And on the back of the cassette, you have your orange pressure relief button, so when you are tipping the waste away, it doesn't spit and splatter back at you. Before you use that cassette, it will take 1 litre of water and a cap full of the blue fluid. Behind the door, you'll actually find your battery locker. So in there you've got your battery connections, and you've got your mains power lead that comes into the side of the van. 230 power supply coming out of the van, so you can put power out to your awning. You've got your storage locker for this side of the van, and your barbecue gas point also. Going inside the van, we'll demonstrate how the inside works now. So as you come in the door, on the left hand side, you've got your main control panel. When the camera closes up, there we go. You've got your master power switch, which you'll need to have on to get all the lighting on, etc., and all your power into the inside of the van. You have your internal lighting, and you have your awning light. Above that, you have the voltmeter for the 12-volt battery on board the van. You also have your water pump switch, which I'll come back to in a moment. First thing we need to do is fill the water system on board the caravan. So underneath the seat on the front right hand side of the van, we'll open up the little door at the front, and you'll actually see there is a yellow valve just behind that bit of pipe work that's there. That yellow valve needs to be parallel with the floor for you to be able to fill the water system on board the van. If that valve was upright, all of the water that you try putting into the caravan would drain straight back out and onto the floor underneath the van. So like I said, yellow valve parallel with the floor before filling the water system. Once that valve is parallel with the floor, you can come over to every tap on board the caravan, open all the taps up on the hot side. As you can see, I've already done that. It's a bit spit and splattery to start with. But then once them taps are open, that's all of the taps on board the caravan, you can then turn on the water pump by the door. So as you can see, water pump is on. And as it draws up the water will start running a bit more freely. Once that water system's full, you can turn off all of the taps on board the caravan. So prior to filling the system, you need to have all the taps open. So we'll shut that tap off. The pump will run for a few seconds afterwards, just so it builds up the pressure in the system again. But once that water system is full, you can actually then start thinking about warming the water on board the caravan. So just to the left of the sink, you've got your 230-volt water heater. So that's your electric water heating. You'll flick that switch on, and that will allow the water system to warm up on the electric. When you're on electric, it won't actually boost. What it will do is it will just warm the water up at a nice steady rate. However, the gas option above, if you've got gas connected on the van, you will need to use the gas as the boost system if you're going to shower or when you're washing up, for instance. To get the water system to boost, you'll very simply make sure the gas is turned on in the front locker. You'll ignite the hob first, so you've got gas through to every part of the caravan. Then all you need to do is grab hold of the silver dial. Make sure your cover's off on the outside before you do this. And the green light here is essentially your pilot light for the gas system. Now in a moment it will fail as we haven't got a gas bottle actually on the van. As you can see, it has actually done that. When you are on gas, unlike the electric side, you can actually control the water temperature between 30 and 70 degrees of water temperature. Whatever number's above the green light, when it's just a solid green light on its own, is the water temperature the water heater will warm up to. So you've got your electric water heating and your gas water heating on and off on the grey dial on the outside, and the water temperature control on the dial on the inside. Next up, I'm going to take you across to the electric heating on the van. Now above the heater itself, which you'll see just down here, you've got your electric power switch. Once I turn that on, it'll actually put power across to the switch next to it. So you always need to have this on if you're going to have the heating on. You'll notice, again, you've got one of them spinny grey dials, but this one's actually for the electric heating. So down the side, you'll notice you've got 500, 1000 or 2000. What that relates to is the amount of watts you're using coming into the caravan from the caravan site you're on for your heating and hot water systems. It is not relevant to any other part of the caravan or any other electrical source or electrical power being used inside the van. If on the site you go to, you've got 500 watts of power available, you'll simply spin the dial to the 500 here. Then you'll control the temperature of the heater on the dial in the centre. If you ask the site office when you arrive on site, they'll advise you of what power you can run your heating and hot water system on at any of the sites you go to. Below that, you've actually got your heater itself. On the left hand side of the heater, you've got a dial here that allows you to run the gas heater itself. So you can press the dial down once you've turned the gas control round, which will allow a little bit more gas to flow through. And if the gas is turned on, when it ignites, you'll have a pilot light in this window down the bottom. Now you'll continue to hold in, once that pilot light is there, the gas valve on top for around 5 to 10 seconds, just to allow the thermocouple to warm up. Then you'll slowly release the gas valve, and you'll be able to control the temperature of the heater on the dial on top. I would advise after a couple of minutes of it running, just to make sure the pilot light is still lit. With the heating system, you can actually run blown air. So around the caravan, you'll see the little vent tubes that come out, a bit like you've got in your car. And you can control that with the dial on top of the heater here. Now what you can do is you can actually run continuous blown air on the wave symbol just here. You can have the heat coming out the front of the heater, or you can have ambient or automatic blown air. So essentially, the blown air will cut in and out with the thermostat on board the caravan. So whether it be the thermostat there or the gas thermostat, it will allow the blown air to cut in and out with both of those thermostats. If you want to control the fan speed, you've got a dial on top here to control that fan speed. Continuous blown air, like I said, and automatic blown air, so it cuts in and out with the thermostat on board the van. Cooker, hob and grill all work very much like your household appliances, no differences at all there. Next up, we're going to come across to the fridge. Again, very simple to use. Off, position at the top. 240 mains, and your temperature control for the fridge on the right hand side. 12 volt mode, so when you connect it to the car, you can actually use the fridge as a cool box. You'll essentially connect the car up, then come inside the caravan, turn the fridge to the battery option on here, which is the 12 volt supply from the car you're towing with, and essentially it will get the beers and wine nice and cold before you get on site. It won't completely chill stuff, like I said, it won't completely freeze stuff like when you got a freezer, but it won't actually freeze the freezing compartment at all, no matter how far you travel with it, but it will keep them bits and pieces cool that you've got in there. And if you've got stuff in the freezer box, I'd advise you just chuck some extra of the travel freeze blocks essentially in there, just so it keeps it nice and cold, meat wise or anything like that you've got in the freezer compartment. Gas mode, again, very simple to use. You'll turn the dial around to the gas option at the bottom. You'll press in the temperature control and hit the igniter. When it has ignited on gas, the little red line that you see here will come round into the green, and that is essentially your pilot light. So as long as that red line is in the green, your fridge is lit and it's working on gas. To control the temperature of the fridge on gas, you've got a dial just here on the front, which you can spin round to the desired temperature. To turn the fridge off, you'll spin it back to the top position, and that is the fridge power isolated, whether it be gas, 12 volt or mains. The last thing we're going to go through on this caravan is the toilet system. Electric flush on top of the toilet. Toilet full indicator light just here, which will illuminate red if that toilet waste cassette is full. And down the front of the toilet you have your toilet waste handle. So if you pull this handle across to here, the toilet waste will go down in the cassette underneath the van. And at that point then, when you finish with the loo, you can shut the cassette back off and it will stop any smells coming up inside the van. The toilet seat does turn for your convenience. However, when you are using the toilet, you need to make sure when you do empty the toilet cassette, the toilet seat is pointing straight across the caravan. The reason being, if it is turned at all, it'll actually lock the toilet waste cassette in place, as it has two lockout tabs on the bottom of the toilet. So when the toilet seat's turned, like I said, you won't be able to remove that cassette. The same thing will also happen if you have the toilet waste door open, as in the little flap underneath that allows the waste into the cassette under the van. If you have any further questions on the Bailey Pegasus Ancona, please don't hesitate to give us a call here at the Caravan Company, and we'll be more than happy to help. We appreciate the business, and we look forward to seeing you here on site when you collect your caravan soon. Thank you for now. Bye bye.